Hello and welcome to Blue Army TV, a very, very special video today. It's an interview, a clip from an interview that was done with Jenna, Piatek and Nick Demasi over on the Blue Army podcast. It's a podcast that I do with my mates Liam, Max and Wills. Liam and Wills you'll recognise from being on this channel in the past. Will's a bit of a new face for those that haven't seen the podcast already, but yeah, it was excellent interviewing two of our new owners, and here's a clip from that interview. The full podcast can be seen or listened to on Spotify at the Blue Army podcast. A link to that will be kept in the description. So yeah, without further ado, here's the clip.
Very much, Max. Thank you. Now,
No worries.
Liam, you've been patiently waiting to sort of like take the floor, and you are the social media sort of like whiz kid that we have here on the podcast. Yourself and Max have been interacting with some of the listeners. You sort of leaked the fact that Nick and Jenna were appearing on the podcast, and now, gentlemen, it's time to hear their questions, what they had for you. Liam, I believe you've got some comments from your YouTube section and various Twitter locations as well.
Yeah, I put most of my things up on Twitter, and look, as people are all aware, Twitter often isn't the friendliest place in the world. So but I have got a selection of comments here. Starting off with, we'll start off with Carlisle United fan page, who says, is Paul Simpson the long-term manager? Obviously, there's been a little bit of a dip in Carlisle's form, but with the fans still behind him, do you think he's definitely the long-term fit for Carlisle?
Yeah, we do. We think,
correct.
last year, monthly run was a huge overachievement, given the budget and given, what he had with. And this year, obviously, we weren't able to get in August, which we would have liked to. But now that we're here, January transfer window, hoping that we can start getting some new results in 2024, some positive results. But yeah.
And he feels the same way as well. He wants to stay in Carlisle. He bought a house. He's from here. His family's here. He wants to keep his roots here as well. So I think it just aligns perfectly. And he's the guy. There's been some bad results, but that happens. That's football. And all it takes is just one switch of the momentum, and then everyone will, fall back in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any sort of negative comments that are made about Paul as well get shut down pretty fast, in my experience.
Yeah,
like especially at the Wigan game. At the end of the game, there was like this bloke who'd obviously had a few too many drinks, giving it large or whatever, and he got put in his place pretty fast. So it is definitely a minority who were,
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable when results are bad. Doesn't matter which football club you're talking about or which manager. There's always, a certain percentage of football fans who, if you've lost the last 3-4 games, it's time to change manager for them. So, kind of, it could be anywhere, and it's not like specific to Carlisle either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one thing I guess just with football in general over here that kind of shocked us was just how quick people get sacked. Yeah, it is like sometimes just 5 games and they're just like,
Fleetwood Town is on their 3rd coach.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. It is funny the way Carlisle do that. I mean, I went on a Jill's in the Blood podcast just as we were getting promoted out of League Two, and I remember saying, even if results go wrong, I don't think there's a manager in the 92 that's as loved as Paul Simpson is. Like, even if things go wrong, I feel like no matter what, Carlisle fans just seem to absolutely adore him. Like, there isn't that level of love for a manager in the entire football league, I don't think.
I mean, he's got us promoted in 3 out of the 4 seasons that he's managed us so far.
Yeah.
So obviously this season he's not going to get us promoted again, so it'll be 3 out of 5.
You never know. Optimism. Second half of the season push, I'm saying.
Well, that kind of leads on nicely to the next question, even from an account called Bacon Brains. They say, is staying up a must this season, or are the aims more long term than that?
Well, I think it's twofold. Yeah, we really want to stay up, and then of course we're here for the long term. Yeah, we have plans to be here for as long as we live, honestly. So yeah, I would say it's twofold, but yeah, we would love to stay up.
Even if we just get 20th and we sneak on by, it'd just be nice to stay up.
Yeah.
It's just a big jump out players as well when you go from League 2 to League 1. I just think the games are a bit more competitive. And
yeah, some of the grounds you go to too are
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys saw with Wigan and Bolton, just we can bring 4,000, 5,000 plus fans. It's fantastic. So hope to stay in League 1.
We can take to there.
Yeah.
But like League 2 is competitive. I mean, you've got Stockport County there, you got Wrexham right now, and even Barrow is doing pretty well. So yeah, we really
don't mention that name.
Yeah, there's been some discussion about how we'd feel if we went down and they went up. It's a funny thing about it as well, because we never we've only kind of recently become rivals of them as well. And now suddenly it's like, oh, I hate them. I'd hate them more if they went up while we went down. That would kind of feel like a bit of a kick in the teeth for kind of Cumbrian pride.
Not going to happen.
Just always being the biggest team in Cumbria, and be so weird if we weren't.
They could be in the Premier League and we'd still be a bigger club than them.
We'd still be bigger than them.
Okay.
Yeah, enough of the Barrow slander. A little bit more lighthearted. Any future potential pre-season tours in the States?
Honestly, yeah. I think we want to do that at some. There's a USL team that's coming to Jacksonville. There's also an MLS feeder system team called the Jacksonville Armada. At some point, we'd love to get, a Florida kind of summer tour with Carlisle over there. But it's going to take some time and probably a couple more years, to be honest. But that would be something that would be awesome, and I hope you guys would come over. Bring your sunscreen, though.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have to worry about us, Will.
We haven't had an abroad tour since, was it when we go when we played Scunthorpe, Ibiza, yeah, Ibiza, Scunthorpe United away in Ibiza. But one more sort of that can be read out. As I'm sure people have noticed, the Pioneer stand, or the Andrew Jenkins stand as it is now, is sort of a little bit pushed past the pitch. It's almost as if somebody's dropped it in the wrong place. It's a bit over to the side. It goes past the pitch. Is there any plans to sort of I don't know how you would fix that, but to sort of align it a little bit better?
Yeah, we already have had a few architects go in and kind of survey everything. What can we do with each stand? What needs to change structurally? So yeah, we do have a lot of stuff in the works there. You just can't do it during the season because, we're occupying it pretty much every weekend. But yes, some exciting stuff will definitely change there.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to fully move it.
Yeah, you can't just pick it up.
To be fair, it adds to the character anyway, so.
I like just putting the away fans in there and just,
Yeah, just give them
It's
nice. It's really good. But Liam, thanks very much for doing that for us, mate. I mean, Max, you've got a few more fan-based questions to go through, and then we just got guessing the player, and then we'll let you guys go. I hope you're okay for time. I just want to check in on that.
Oh, yeah.
Totally fine.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Go ahead, Max. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, so I did a reach out on Instagram. Got quite a few responses on there. So from Callum Harrison, we've got, what made Carlisle stand out as a takeover option, and has there been any big surprises over the last couple of months that you've found after the takeover?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard it from all the many times our family have had to talk about it, but really it was the isolation we think is such a positive. We love that this is the big club in the North, to own the North. And it's kind of been re-solidified. The more we go to these away games, we got a beautiful tour of Fleetwood Town's facilities. They have a really good training facility and everything. They can't get more than 2,000 fans to a game. He's like, you have no idea how lucky you are to have a fan base that cares and, the community that wants to go to the games. And then you flash forward to Wigan, you couldn't even hear them. All I heard was the away side.
Yeah, I was stood right next to them. I couldn't hear them either.
Yeah, sir.
No, and they claimed they were loud. I'm like, no, nobody can hear you. So we like the isolation, the positive, and then hopefully once the training facility is built, you can sell it as there's less distractions, the air's cleaner up here, you know, come here, work on your football, get better, become the star.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we hope and what we see on the North.
Yeah, and I think the biggest challenge or the biggest surprise, at least from my perspective, is just how much of a jump League Two to League One was. I knew it obviously would be, but just kind of seeing it, you know, in person, it's definitely a jump that I didn't expect. I knew it was going to be somewhat of a jump, but not this big.
It surprised me almost a bit that, because it feels like League One now is at a higher level almost than League One last time we were there. But I think there's just more big teams there, like finances, you know, the way finances in football work and stuff. You've got more, you know, you've now got really big teams filling up the championship, and then they come down to League One, and you know, it's almost like that. You know, the kind of like thing where the championship's got all the big teams that were in the Premiership. It's just kind of like spread down the divisions a little bit, and now League One feels a bit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's definitely a tougher league than I thought it was going to be as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you got teams like Derby and you know, as much as we like to slate them, Wigan as well. You know, they're fairly recently Premier League teams, and we're coming up against them every week, so it is going to be tough.
I mean, when we played Fleetwood on the opening day of the season, and Fleetwood haven't done particularly well this year, but even in that match, I kind of like was thinking this team are a cut above most of the teams we've played in League Two for the past sort of 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely been a challenge, and hopefully 2024 brings us a couple more wins. That's the plan, at least.
No, I'm optimistic, to be fair. I don't think we have to worry about going down, but hopefully. Anyways, next question comes from Joe.E23 on Instagram. So he said, what could the next 5 to 10 years look like for Carlisle United?
I would say for Carlisle United, the plan is to be a solid League One club within the, you know, build ourselves as a solid League One club, and then eventually, you know, start pushing for promotion into the championship. You know, I'm not going to give a huge grand prediction. No, we're going to the Premier League in 10 years, guys. Like, get ready. I would love it, of course, but, you know, I don't want to be that person that, you know, says that. I think being a solid League One club and then pushing for promotion to the championship would be a huge success story for us, at least.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all agreed that was probably what we would be hoping for as well, because obviously we've already talked about how hard the league is, and to just get settled there. I mean, in 2007, we were like pushing for promotion to the championship, and to get back to that similar level would be like a brilliant achievement. Anyway, next question is from Jamie. He said, is there a plan for the Warick Road End in terms of hospitality? And I think there was stuff mentioned about the roof as well to kind of project the noise out a bit. Has there been any more sort of movement from that?
Yeah, no, there's definitely stuff in the works. Just have to wait for the season to end. But we love Warwick, and it's so loud over there that we want to make sure that it really amplifies. So opponents are maybe scared to play up north. But yes. And do you guys like the standing, or do you guys prefer the seats?
I like standing personally.
You boys are all standing.
Yeah.
I'm in the Andrew Jenkins, so that isn't really an option. So
yeah,
if you were to ask my dad, he would say seating because he's a bit too old to stand now, apparently. So,
well, with my dodgy knee, I do prefer seating now. But if you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I'd have probably said standing. You know,
it's
always going to
something that kind of polarizes fans. Well, not polarizes, but you know, fans of standing definitely. Big fans of standing, and like like a lot of people at a lot of clubs who have standing wouldn't want to see that become an all-seater thing. But you've now got the option of safe standing as well. There's now ways to actually have
both
standing.
Yeah, the standing honestly looks kind of. We were just at Old Trafford and we saw there were some sections of it where there's like, you know, poles and then just the seats and stuff like that. It looked kind of weird, honestly.
Yeah, me and Skelly were in safe standing section at Wembley, which it is pretty much just a seating section, just at the seat. I think the seats, there was a bit more space. There was like a barrier in front of you, and you didn't have the steward telling you to sit down if you did stand up. But other than that, it was just like seating, really.
I honestly think like it's
Yeah.
almost like a height issue as well. Like if you've got long legs like me, you physically can't sit down at Brunton Park, especially on a busy day when you've got like someone in front of you and like everywhere kind of thing. Your knees are in their back and it's a little bit awkward, so you sit side saddle, but then you're in someone else's lap. So like certain areas anyway, maybe I feel a little bit squashed in. So that's why I always tend to go for standing as well. But yeah, that's just me because I'm a big 6'4" freak, so that's kind of just my issue, I guess.
With
But,
the standing as well, you can go a bit more mental when we score, which is like more fun, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, you're not kind of restricted to being in a spot either. So yeah, when we score, people like run down the front.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last question is from Charlie, and he said, or he or she, I'm not too sure actually. Sorry, Charlie. Are there any plans to have music for when we score a goal? So we saw that at Wigan, and that was really annoying for us. Anyway,
And
Fleetwood,
we had
well.
Fleetwood because that was really awful.
Fleetwood is the worst.
I mean,
SpongeBob music.
Yeah,
Captain
We do not have
Pugwash.
goal
no
scoring
plans.
music. Yeah.
I'm actually quite happy about
Good.
that
Yeah.
because it really wound me up at Wigan. When they scored and then they got stupid music playing, and
Yeah.
it rubbed salt in the wound.
Is that a new thing within English football, or has that always been a thing?
No, it's new, isn't it? I think.
Since the 90s, there's always been a handful of clubs that have done it. I'm sure I remember like Sunderland making a big deal when they moved to the Stadium of Light of having goal music, but yeah, I think it's been around since then.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
you go back in Arsenal, don't you? The Gooners, they used to fire the cannon when they scored, didn't you? That was the tradition. So like, there's always been some kind of noises going on, like all over the place.
And there we have it. As I said at the start of the video, the full interview can be seen or heard at the Blue Army podcast on Spotify. A link to that will be left in the description. So yeah, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and in a bit.